Teams also can trade their picks, so keep an eye on that tonight to see which teams want to move up or move down the draft board.
Eric Mitchell is with us now. He's the president of Life Flip Media and a national sports analyst. Eric, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So there is a lot at stake tonight. All eyes on the Hawks. What do you think they'll do with the first pick?
You know, every other year I've done the NBA draft and covered it, I've been able to answer this question like I know who the pick is. Like Wemby was a year ago, it was easy. This year it's so different because you're seeing trades made before the draft. Like we had the big trades last night. You saw Brooklyn moving around, trying to, get all these picks, and then Houston wants to make a run for KD. I want to say they're going to go with Zachary Risher, the 6'8", 19-year-old from overseas. But even that isn't certain because there's a lot of movement, a lot of talk between that player and this big guy that the Wizards are up for, which is Alex Sarr, the player from down under, who's 7-footer. One thing you're going to know in the draft, everybody's tall, it feels like, except Bronny James. Everybody seems to be like 6'8" to 7'4", except poor Bronny. So it's going to be interesting when you're seeing who's moving on the board. And, again, the Houston Rockets are making this play. They've made it very open. They want KD. But apparently KD doesn't want to go to Houston, and the Suns are like, we want to maintain our team. So it's going to be interesting. This draft is so different with all the different pieces in it because you truly don't have a standout number one pick.
And adding to all of that, the landscape has really changed with NIL. Many of these players have already made money from their college playing days. But what do rookies need to think about when it comes to managing these multi-million-dollar NBA deals?
Well, they have to remember they are human, so injuries do come into play. We've seen it. I mean, if we want to look at the WNBA, Cameron Brink, who was drafted, I think the number 2 pick after Caitlin Clark, she's out for the season with, an ACL with her leg. So that could happen to these players, and that's what they need to have player safety because they need to maintain. Yes, they're making great money. If you're a first-round draft pick, what are you making? Just under $12 million? That's a great thing to be 19 and making that. But you have to maintain that, make sure you're safe down the road. And these players are being taught that. That's the great thing about NIL that I think a lot of people miss is these players are taught money management, and they're talking to money managers sooner than later. They're actually talking to them when they're 17 and not when they're coming out now and going to the draft. This is what you've seen with NIL really helping with NBA and NFL players. They're learning about money management earlier in their life. There's some great money managers out there, and they're helping these players save for a rainy day and not just go out and buy Cybertrucks.
A good reminder that no one is invincible. Bronny James isn't expected to go in the first round, but he might be the most anticipated pick. Where might he go? Lakers in the second round, or might we see an eventual trade here?
I feel bad for Bronny James. His name is brought up more than anybody else for a guy who's not going to go in the first round. Bron James, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. It's hard to say. I'd love to see the Lakers pick him up, but now you've seen the Celtics throw their hat in the ring for him. The Mavericks here in Dallas have talked about picking him up. I honestly think he'll end up with the Lakers. They have a pick. It keeps lining up every mock draft I've seen, who I've heard through my sources. It looks like the Lakers are going to pick up Bronny and give him a chance. I personally don't think he's ready for the league. I think a lot of people know that. I think his brother Bryce is ready for the league, but it'll be great for Bron. We'll get to kind of have that Ken Griffey Jr. Experience again with father-son. So I'm hoping it's the Lakers. That would be great for TV magic and for what could be Bron's final season, but we will see.
Eric, we know a top draft pick can change the trajectory for an NBA team. It can also inject a lot of money into the city's economy. I know it varies from case to case, but how much of a difference can one player make for a team?
You've seen it in the NBA. I think the NBA Finals showed that when you look at the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic, an overseas player who's really changed the game. It makes a difference. People get excited to watch basketball when you have a great player. San Antonio last year with Wemby. It blew new blood into the city of San Antonio. It causes that. A good draft pick. I mean, look, let's go back. Let's talk about the WNBA. I think we've talked about her a little bit. Caitlin Clark, you might have heard that name, the Indiana Fever. I think they're almost more popular than the Pacers. I mean, she's the hottest ticket in town if you look at the numbers for her just by herself. So there's a player. I mean, it's funny. We're talking NBA, but we're bringing WNBA players into this because it's how a one player can make a difference by just putting fans and causing excitement and injecting it in a city that's just desperate for it. And I know the Hawks are looking for that player. They thought they had it with their point guard, but rumor has it he might be traded tonight when they make moves. So you never know. Nobody's safe on draft night, it seems.
30 seconds left. Which storyline out of the draft are you most excited about?
Bronny James, little Bronny James, and where he goes, I think that's got all of our strings. We've watched Bron come into the league as a rookie, as a first round draft pick, and watched him. His amazing career was at his first game ever back when he was a Cav playing the Kings. So I'm excited to see his son come into the league. I don't care where he goes, just going to be great. Hopefully his dad, I can't wait to see what his dad says. His message today was just, as a dad, was one of those things that hits you right in the feels. Is he just proud of his boy? And it's exciting to watch that tonight. And all these young men deserve everything they get. I know draft night is a big stress, but it's fun to see at the end of the day.
Yeah, time certainly flies, and we've definitely been able to see a lot of these players that are entering the draft or being a part of this year. We've seen them rise through social media and the internet. So a lot of folks very connected to these players already, more so than previous years. Eric Mitchell, president of LifeFlip Media. Eric, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you soon. Florida Panthers.